People ask me frequently, Dr. G, Dr. Gary, what's the one thing I can do to improve my health? And I said, change the water. Change the water that you're consuming and change the water that you're bathing in. We're 75% water. It just makes common sense to give your body the healthiest water possible. You know, our body can either be the filter, or we can allow some of the choices we make to filter out all those harmful things that are going to affect us down the road. And to me, that's one of the things. I think it's amazing the way people feel when all of a sudden they start to hydrate themselves. That their energy level, just the way they feel on a daily basis, their productivity, if you will, the stiffness they may have, or just other things. I mean, people even saying my eyesight's improved because they're hydrated better and they have a little better pressure in their eyeballs, which affects the cornea and the lenses, everything else. But it's a lot of times this is one of the first things that I give people a choice for. It's something that they're really currently, for most people, spending too much money on if they've chose other systems or bottled water. And the way I see it, and I talk about this all the time, our health is our greatest asset. And if we want any asset to be healthy in our life, all right, we need to invest time, energy, and money into it to have that good asset. And why do we ever think our health's any different? We don't. The other side of that coin is, too, with all the money that we can save people, if they make a Nikken choice as opposed to, let's say, bottled water, that's more money for investment into their health as well, for self-care. So very, very common sense choices. I have found it very difficult to relate to people how powerful and how good they can feel by doing some really simple things, just like changing the water that they're drinking. So water really does matter in a number of different ways, and that's kind of a play on word. It matters as to how much we drink, the quality we drink, what our choices for that water is, and it is a thing that to start, I think we really need to enhance our perception of water, because everybody knows we need to drink water. And I think almost people are aware we're predominantly water, about 75% water, but it has a tremendous role in the health of our body. Our blood is mostly water, important for circulation and for delivery of nutrients and for elimination of metabolic byproducts. It's important for the digestion, and it's important, very important, for temperature control. In many of my presentations, I use that as an example of how busy our body is. That's the one thing we expend the most energy in our lifetimes doing, is keeping our bodies at 98.6 degrees or 37 Celsius. But so water has a crucial role here. And I think many times people make decisions to drink everything but water, all right? And that's pretty much evidenced by, 75% of at least Americans suffer from chronic dehydration. And it will lead to a host of physiological and symptomatic problems. Just a very small drop in hydration can lead to fatigue during the day. And it's the major cause of fatigue during the day. A lot of people experiencing joint discomforts. It's a level of dehydration that is causing that problem in the elasticity and the cushioning for those joints. Many times when we're thirsty, our brain interprets that as being hungry. And so it can lead to weight gain, and also with interruption of digestion and assimilation of nutrients as well if we're dehydrated. Headaches, a lot of times, inflammation that would cause some discomfort, especially in the form of a headache. can lead to ulcers, high blood pressure, kidney disease. And many times we're choosing things to drink that, instead of hydrating us, are causing us to dehydrate even more. And it's so we really need to think of water as our most essential nutrient. I think if we look at it that way, we'll have a better appreciation for it, just like any other nutrient. Next to oxygen, it's probably the most important. It is the most important for sure. But again, it's like, if you ask people how much water you drink in a day, most people don't know. They don't realize it. They just, like I said, they make other choices. So if we want to look at how much water actually we all should drink, it's about half our body weight in ounces. So given that, we'd want to look at really what a healthy choice is. What would be the characteristics of a healthy water or a system to produce healthy water? And I think we want to have advanced filtration that meets or exceeds these standards here from ANSI and NSF of 42, 53, and 372. 42 is an aesthetic filtration for taste and odor. Many filtration systems just stop at that and don't go any further. Those would include ones that you could buy at hardwares or big hardware stores or outlets. They basically use one type of filtration with a carbon block filter. It's very effective for aesthetic removal of what we may smell or taste, but very ineffective of removing any of those harmful things that we talked about. That's where standard 53 comes in, of removing those harmfuls, and then 372 is for heavy metal and lead reduction. I'd want to look for a water that has a slightly alkaline, and note I said slightly alkaline, because a pH level of 8.5 to 9.5 is slightly alkaline. pH is a logarithmic scale, which is the same as the Richter scale for earthquakes, and there's a big difference between a 6.0 earthquake and an 8.5. So anyways, but we want a slightly alkaline within those parameters of about 8.5 to 9.5. Our body wants to have minerals in the water. That's how we move water across our cell membranes. If it's void of minerals, we basically need to rob our cells of minerals to go into the water so we can utilize it. And many filtration systems strip minerals from the water almost completely. We'd want to have an energized water. We want to have a water that's highly absorbable. That's where this clustering comes in. And we'd also want a system that's pretty easy to use and one that's easy to maintain. And of course, a lot of times we make our health choices with our wallet instead of our mind. So we definitely want to make it, cost effective so people can make an easy choice there. And I've pretty much just characterized or given you the qualities and the features and benefits of Niken's choices here, which is for our waterfall. That's our home unit. And there's also a picture of the travel unit here, the sport bottle too. So this system really does produce that alkaline water in that range that we want. And you can do that just with regular tap water by pouring it into that unit, let it go through its series of filters, remove all the harmful things, and put things back into the water that our body wants. So again, it's using science to replicate what nature intended water to be. And that's pretty cool. I mean, a little side story here too is, my father spent his whole life in the water quality business and association. And when I first introduced him to Niken's choice or Niken's solution here for healthy water, he looked right at me and said, "This is what we've always wanted. Something to take all the bad things out, but then put the good things back in. And we've never had it." And he was very excited about that. So it's what their whole mission was the whole time of his career, which was 40, 50 years in that industry. So this is an excellent choice. It's cost effective. The water tastes great. I tell people it's the healthiest water on the planet, and I mean that. I really do. It's also very healthy for your wallet. How many times are people going to their doctors with symptoms that are basically just symptoms of dehydration or poor quality sleep, or maybe just not getting enough direct sunlight a day, 20 minutes of sunlight a day for vitamin D3, and then being prescribed medication when there's a much simpler solution. And that's what I love about self-care. That's what I love about this movement, this mission. It's a very trendy subject right now, and people are looking for solutions. They really are.